Hi, everybody. This is Bullseye Handicapping, the Ego Buster approach to playing the races. And I get up with the horses at the day kind of way early, 3:30. Normally I get up around 4:30. I get up, I get out, and I get energized. And I go out and dance. I go underneath this tree, and I energize. I like my sign says, get up, get out, get energized. And I've been doing it for over 30 years. And basically because I'm a horse player, I've been on fire. Uh, I got addicted to mastering the racing form, got addicted to wanting to be somebody. So I jumped in the game, the hardest game in the world, horse racing. That was 40 years ago, and that was a horrible choice that I made. And I'm okay with that now because I'm presently not in the addiction any longer. I'm not addicted to having to play a race, another race, another race, another race. Like for example, this week we started out on Wednesdays. Most people would start. You got 10 races there, and you got Thursday, you got another 10 races there, and then if you play other tracks, so about 30 races that you could have played before the prom on Saturday, the Whitney Day. And I looked at the entries and everything, and that it's more build up than actually being a card like the Derby card or Breeders' Cup card. Um, it's not as magnificent as you think, but it's still a good card, and the race is a good race. And I saw that Past the Wire went on, and they're bringing in a new product, and that blows me away because it just shows the ego, the arrogance of a person to think they can accomplish something that is nearly impossible. And to being a winner at horse racing is nearly impossible, and then to broaden it and think that you can predict other markets too. It's just making things extremely complicated. It's just ego blown at its highest proportion. And 10 years ago, I started an approach called the Ego Buster, and knew that I had to surrender, knew that I had to detach, and I'm constantly trying to fill my conscious being with information now that serves me. Um, for over 30 years, I've danced and did my ninja program to keep my being correct. So for 30 years, I've gotten up, gotten out, gotten energized, and now I'm doing poi dancing and rollerblading and all these things to burn off the devil that was in me, which was me thinking that I was unworthy and I wanted to be somebody. And I picked horse racing like a fucking idiot. I picked horse racing 40 years ago. And now I'm trying to teach myself, or I've taught over the last 10 years, taught myself how to detach, to get a black belt in the art of detachment. It's like that sign says up there, and it's taken 10 years to finally detach, and I am detached. And the only reason I'm detached is because I have an awareness, a complete awareness that horse racing information is useless. And I've tested that theory for 40 years. And I think a lot of other horse players are going to go through that same awakening one day, that horse racing information is useless. The only thing that's important, if you're going to play, is the odds board. The odds board tells you everything about what the handicapper's intention is. And I call it the crystal clear. I make a crystal clear clarity board out of it. And basically what I'm doing is, here's an example of one right here from one of the other days this week probably. This would be a crystal clear clarity board. And basically putting the odds of the horses, 1, 3, 4, 8, and 10, they would be contenders. The 2, 6, 12, and 13, they would be, horses of interest, but not key contenders. And then you got your dismissed horses here on the top, the 5, 7, and 9. So what the crystal clear clarity board does is it basically tells you the story of what you guys think and what the owners, and now added with the owners when the odds actually come out, you'll have the addition of the owners, and it won't be a morning line anymore. It'll be an actual odds board, which will include, the owners, the trainers, and everybody they told about what's going to happen. So then you have your contenders in the game, and then you have your possibles, and then you have your completely dismissed. Well, because I needed to do a paradigm change, I decided that I'm not gonna. Not only is horse racing information useless, but where is my attention going to go? Is it going to go toward picking winners, which I did for 40 years unsuccessfully, and now in the last 10, I'm trying to detach from that? Or am I going to look at the dismissed horses and put my attention to them? And that's what I do. I make it a crystal clear clarity board. I don't have to look at horse racing information, and I look at the 3 or the 2 dismissed horses, totally dismissed horses, at the highest possible odds. And so my playground is not to win the race, or not even to take second. My playground is to take third and fourth in the superfectas, dime superfectas. And that's just to humor myself, to play the game at the level that it is, which is a game. It's just a game. It's not a game that takes skill. People say it's a skill game. I don't believe it's a skill game. I believe that you just get lucky and you just get paid. And that awareness has allowed me to release myself with the elimination of the racing form. And that's where the addiction is. The addiction is thinking that I know. Like the Andy Serling complex of he knows it all. It's disgusting. It's arrogant. It's ridiculous. It's a deformity. It's a deformity in your mind. And me being able to realize that allows me to get out of the middle of the ocean and back to land. And what is back to land? Meaning normality. Normality. Leaving the horse racing bubble and going into normality, the world bubble. That's what I've done over the last 3 weeks. Over the last 3 weeks, totally understanding I am not in the middle of the ocean anymore. I'm not playing the races anymore the way I used to. The same way you're playing them now. I know I can't win at that. I'm aware of my addiction to a game that never served me, never allowed me to smile enough to say, oh, I like doing this. Never did. So what do you do? What do you do? You gotta I had to reprogram the machine. Me. Awareness is the first part. Becoming aware. And then education. How can I be a winner? Watching things, educating yourself. How can I not, do something that doesn't serve me? Getting a black belt in the art of detachment. And there's this show on YouTube. I think it's that I was watching, and I like to share a little bit of it with you.
At your mind, your time, your energy, and your emotions. The greatest freedom you will ever give yourself is the power to detach. Most people don't realize this, but you are controlled the most by the things you cling to, the people you fear losing, the outcomes you obsess over, the situations you try to fix even when they are not yours to fix. And the more you hold on, the more life slips out of your hands. But Buddhism teaches something quietly revolutionary. When you detach, you rise above everything that once owned you. You stop being shaken by people's moods. You stop drowning in problems you can't solve. And you stop letting situations decide your worth. There is a stronger, freer version of you waiting on the other side of letting go, a version that cannot be manipulated, drained, or controlled. Today, you will learn 7 powerful lessons that will help you detach so deeply that nothing outside you can disturb your inner world again. 1. You suffer the most when you hold on to what is not yours. Most of the suffering you experience in life is not caused by what happens to you, but by what you refuse to let go of. The human mind has a habit of holding tightly to things long after they have served their purpose. You hold on to people who are...
Yeah, there's a saying that I heard a long time ago. I think in a movie. Everything's from a movie. And the saying was, hang on tightly, let go lightly. Hang on tightly, let go lightly. Meaning that, I hung on to, thinking I could be a successful horse player for 40 years, but letting go lightly is what I did for 10 years. Um, Disciplining myself to understand it's not going to happen. 1 second. Yeah, making my second cup of coffee here. And so me getting a black belt in detachment became something that was important to me about 10 years ago.
Already checked out emotionally, hoping they will return to who they once were. You hold on to situations that quietly drain your energy day after day simply because you fear change. You hold on to old memories, old disappointments, old expectations, and old versions of yourself as if clinging to them will somehow bring comfort. But all this clinging does is create inner conflict. It traps you between what is happening and what you wish would happen, and that tension is where the deepest suffering hides. Buddhism teaches that the root of suffering is attachment, not because attachment is evil, but because everything you attach yourself to.
So let me switch this around a bit here, man. Back. Yeah, so it's I watch a lot of films like that because of the fact that education, information, just like with horse racing, I thought horse racing information would give me a desired end result. It didn't. But learning to get a black belt in the art of attachment is serving me. What I realized was that, I've been also doing poi dancing for over 30 years. And because there's no doubt about it that, I have a compulsive, addictive personality. But again, I'm letting go of all of that now. I'm 70 years old and it's time to be happy again, to be, on land and normal. And it's unbelievable leaving the horse racing bubble and going into the world bubble, and just sitting out and looking in and staying in the bleachers and not getting involved, in my poison, so to speak, not drinking my poison every day, which is my addiction to horse racing, more appropriate, my addiction to reading horse racing information and thinking that it was the Bible. And it turned out to be just useless paper. Um, and me doing it in a paradigm change of going in the complete opposite direction is just normal. It's normal for me. It's part of the unwinding of the total experience. But I think, truthfully, the bada boom is, to become invisible at the end, where, I'm only doing this because of the fact that I'm trying to make others aware of their present state of being, which is, addicted to a game that's impossible to attain that desired result you're hoping for. Um, it's just going into a bubble, and then everything else goes, you think everything else goes away. It's a drug, horse racing, the way we do it's a drug. It's everything. What would you do if you didn't do that? It got that bad. And that's why leaving the horse racing bubble and going back into the world bubble, even though it's extremely, extremely difficult, because it's not that much. Like yesterday, I was in the world bubble, and the amount of negative things that were going down, I was getting my ass kicked like I was playing the races, and I ran into Mike Tyson. Everything problem after problem after problem. But instead of, running underneath the blankets and hoping that it would go away, I dealt with everything. Bam. I dealt with it. Bam. I dealt with it. Bam. And as difficult as it was, the dealing with it and bam was so enjoyable afterwards. I felt such peace and such, tranquility, which made me just so happy because of the fact that I took care of business. Just like I want, always like doing, take care of business, man. Resolve that thing. And if I can't resolve it, then just drop it, let it go. Hang on tightly, let go lightly, let it go. And then, I go dance and I go enjoy myself. Get out of being on fire. And then I do my clickety clacks. And that's basically, an exercise to get out of my mind and to be a blank sheet of paper with no aspirations, with no end goal, but just, being somewhat comfortable. And being just somewhat comfortable can be okay, being having every day as mundane Monday and terrible Tuesday where you're not playing the races. Okay, so step into the world bubble and be surprised by the world bubble. And I have been pleasantly, as well as being having experiences that are not pleasurable, so to speak. You know, I don't want to shy away from unpleasurable experiences. I want to just look at them for what they are and move on, and to find that happy place, that place of bliss in my mind, to find that happy place. And presently the happy place is to stay detached. The happy place is to still, get a rubber dub, so to speak. Go through the exercise without using the racing form and using the crystal clear clarity board. I'm still like kind of like playing with myself, so to speak, right? Meaning, I'm giving myself a rubber dub, but I ain't getting engaged in any means. And the feelings about that are so much better than the pain I would go through if I was engaged. I mean, if I was engaged in some of the races that I practiced, where you had to put in about what, $250 or $500, and you come up completely empty. Well, there's an extremely negative effect to that. I mean, you have a memory of getting your ass whooped. It might not be in your conscious mind, but it's in your subconscious mind. And like I said in one of my other videos, the subconscious mind is the boss. And that's why I've moved to playing the game with flow and glow, the energized approach, a flow and glow approach, where the flow aspect is letting the bet make me. The flow aspect is listening to professionals and getting golden nuggets from that. The flow factor is getting tickled by something and then running with it. The flow factor is to stay within the disciplines of the process and just hope that you get lucky. And if you get lucky, you get paid a little bit. But doing it at a percentage that's 90% less than what I did when I was an addicted horse player. When I was addicted horse player, I'd have to play 2,500 races a year every year for 40 years. My God. When you think about it in retrospect, it's almost like regurgitating disgusting. It's not, and it looks like it is. So I think the awareness of that is key. I'm talking about things that you got your underwears off shit. You know what I mean? I don't expect many people to view this with a smile, so to speak, because it's a underwears off topics. I won't get many views, but I'm not looking for many views. I'm more documenting my journey for my own personal interest, which is what I've also done for 25 years. So I'm a pure addict, you know what I mean? But who isn't in whatever they're passionate about? When you become passionate about something and you give it a piggyback with belief, a strong belief, I'm very powerful with those things. I become almost Hercules in the sense of my determination to achieve it. Just like, as powerful as I'm trying to be now with getting my black belt in the art of detachment from a game that brutally beat the living shit out of me, horse racing, to going to where I let it go. And then if I want to do a rubber dub and ever, uh, fool around with it, if I even can, because when you get out of the ocean, get to land, and leave the horse racing bubble, go into the world bubble, I'll get a momentum with the world bubble. Maybe the possibility of having a relationship with a person again after 2 to 4 years of not experiencing that. Maybe being able to catch up with some of my family, which I haven't done for 6 years. Maybe reconnecting with my daughter and her children, which I haven't done ever. All because of horse racing, all because of the fact that I was addicted to being a horse player. Totally out of control. Ba ba boo boo. Bada bam. But we're all like little computers and little machines with minds. Minds that are sick, minds that are well. And presently, I'm not sick, with a mind that has to do something. I don't have to do this anymore. And the best thing I could do is just completely let it go, which is what I was, mentioning before, from the person on the YouTube. No different than I got educated by watching the show on YouTube about Bill Russell when they asked him, did you come, what made you, what was the difference between you and a regular player? And he just said, they come to play, I come to win. And, who was I in that story? I came to play. Action Jackson. So, since Wednesday, I've already would have played what? Over 30 races, probably 10, 5, 7. I haven't played any. I haven't played any. And I'm not sure when I will play again. But in the meantime, I'm just showing people a process that allowed me to get out. And the first thing is letting go. Letting go, hang on tightly, let go lightly, let it go. Let go of that racing form. All it's doing is keeping you in, keeping you in. Learning a new way, making a paradigm change, becoming aware that, that this is the second one that I like to show. Let me just bring this up. 1 second.
All of our kids deserve the best schools in America.
I like to share this song always, which is my theme song, to keep me balanced, keep me in a situation where I'm grounded and
I remember when I lost my mind. There's something so magic about that place. Leaving your emotions out of that core. So much space. When you're out there without care, without of time. But it wasn't because I didn't know them. Just knew too much. Come on now, who do you think you are? Ah, bless your soul. You really think you're in control?
you really think you're in control. So for today, I'm gonna go through and do the crystal clear clarity board for a few of the races, just to have fun. My little rubber dove. Again, going in the playground of horses that are going to get there, maybe second, third, or fourth. Only playing the race. Only starting with the last races of the day. But so far on Friday and Saturday, there's really no reason to get wild because in just about every race except for one, the contenders are dominating the first three slots, not only the first slot, almost the first three slots. There's no only in the one race where it was a big field, you could have gotten paid, but you also would have had to, be more selective on your selections to bring the bet down because you don't want to be Mr. Clean and just wash money and play everybody. And I'm not there with that. I noticed that if you do all bets, they're not. You'll just be Mr. Clean. You'll bet $200, $300 into the race to get back 350, and that's it's better just again what I'm learning is better just to watch. So there's a lot I don't know about this new approach, degobuster approach of just playing the race, no string bets. That's good. Really, the biggest benefit is that you're focusing on just playing a race or two a day. You're only looking at an odds board for those races. So that's why I said you're losing almost 90% of the time. No handicapping. I don't have to handicap at all. I basically just to wait to see the odds board when the 25 minutes out, and you really want to make a decision right away after you see the odds board, and then, like I said, completely detach and make an investment if you're allowed, and then detach. So I'll show that later. Again, we got one more dance Friday. We got, I think, 12 races. So, and then if you play another try, so you got about 20 more races, so total 50 races. Most players can get involved or already have gotten involved with before the Whitney. What I'm trying to do is not find a reason to play anything until Saturday. That would make me feel really good because I would be practicing, a discipline of, trying to play as few races as possible. And also, I haven't been wild. I mean, there's no everything. The racetrack is straight. It's pretty much stayed the same. I think they get a dusting of rain or a little moisture, but then it's damp and it dries up pretty good. But still formful. No bada bing. So no. The big races are providing chaos, are providing small, opportunities if you can zoom in. Again, I'm blown away by the information you can get from the professionals, which gives you the golden nuggets hidden in layers beyond the obvious. They're your racing form. They can tell you things in 5 or 10 minutes. And I think keeping your mind clear, crystal clear, is so important. Like, if you're not playing, race after race after race after race, and you're sitting in the bleachers, you're smooth, you're calm. You can actually go with the flow. You can't go with the flow if you're handicapping the races, using horse racing information. Using past the wire, thoroughbred sheets, time form, you're going to make a decision, and your decision is probably made hours and hours ago, and you fed your subconscious with pick sixes, pick all, string bets. You're all over the place. I'm not all over the place. I'm never playing all of those races. I'm playing just the race, and I'm not even trying to win the race because you're trying to do that. I'm trying to take second, third, or fourth with a 25 or 43 or 65 to one shot in the dime super, in a big field. But I need to get wowed a little bit with commentary from, that like Maggie brings out, like I've shown over and over again, like Demos brings out, all, that you hear on another show. Again, horse racing information is not the racing form. It's all horse racing information. But and 99% of it you're going to throw away. You want to keep your computer clean in your mind. The only way you do that is the art of detachment, of not playing thousands of races that you shouldn't play. Be in control of your game. And after 40 years, The biggest win that I have is the fact that I'm not playing races just to play races. Um, I have an approach, the ego buster approach, which I know it's difficult to win in this game, so I respect that. And even when I practice, I'm humbled and I make mistakes. My approach is to play the two longest shots on the board, not to all of a sudden, have an opinion that, oh, I like the 13, he's getting in. Oh, I like the 9, it's just I don't think again, you wobble. You can't wobble in our game. There's no room for error. I mean, there's no room for error. When you're a horse player, the ice is thin. It's very thin. Every step you take, you can go down. That's why I find pick sixes and pick fives and all that stuff insane. That horse players playing when they open the racing form and they start to play, they're on thin ice. They're under pick five under pick five. They hit 4 races and they're on the 5th leg and they lose. That's the worst. That's the worst. So my mantra is you can beat a race, but you can't beat the races. So I was talking about flow and glow, a felt sense. Let the bet make you. When you don't use horse racing information and you go in this direction, it's unbelievable. It's very subtle, very very subtle in its totality, because you're basically almost like a coach who plays once in a blue moon. The sixth man, right? You're on a phenomenal basketball team. You're the sixth man, but you rarely play because of the fact that the 5 people that are playing are phenomenal. But you have to always be ready. That's my approach. That you just sit back and you wait and you hear something. Remember, I was 40 years of playing, so it's in my subconscious, the information. It's just, can that information awaken in my mind while I'm looking at a race? And I know it can, because I remember when I was a soccer player, when I was in college, and also being a kung fu guy, getting in the zone. Those examples. That's flow. Glow is my poi, but flow is about, like, I remember at least 4 games that when the weather was misty and it rained, or it rained a little bit, but with that mist type of rain. When I played played a game of soccer, I would score 3 goals. That would be unbelievable. I got into the zone. My whole being got into this zone. And when it got into that zone, I was magical. So I do understand the whole thing about flow and feeling. Yeah, also, I remember when I met my wife, I knew she was going to be my wife. I remember when I bought my house in Gaylorsville, there was no doubt about it. When I bought my uh, convertible Fiat, again, you know, you get bam, it's there. That when you're able to get to that part of the kung fu, when you're able to be, in that realm of being a master at something because you've done it forever, that's where the real game is. The real game is in the game of flow and glow, energize the ego buster approach of playing, which I'm entertaining by doing this crystal clear clarity board and odds, and and it's a lot of fun too. That's the other thing. Just doing a follow along, so to speak, while I'm learning this other approach. Um, it's enjoyable. It doesn't hurt. There's no pain. Um, I'm not feeling like I'm being self-destructive, because I'm not. I am not. I'm out of that horse racing bubble. I'm out of the being on fire. And the amount of anxiety that you lose because of that is tremendous. And then you start working on your other things that you think that you need to improve because of the fact that you can. So I mean, this is a guy 70 years old trying to give advice to people who are going to be where I am one day. If anybody wants to say hello, I'm at 475-206-6569 and bullshit about it. And talking on it. Obviously, I like to talk, otherwise, I wouldn't be on the YouTube. I think because the other thing is I got so much more time because I'm not handicapped in the races. I don't handicap anymore. I don't look at time form anymore. I don't look at videos anymore. None of that stuff. I did it for 40 years. In the last 10 years, I've trained myself. I'm done with that. Detaching. Getting the black belt and detaching. All right, so that'll be it for now. I'll probably come on with my odds boards later, and that'll be fun. So, as Harvey Pack would say, may the horse be with you. Talk to you soon. Bye now.